I got mad at my wife for saying she would pick her deceased husband over me. So, my wife was married before me. College sweethearts who got engaged right after graduation. They got married at 24, and he died 2 years later in a motorcycle accident. Head-on collision with a drunk driver. She was completely shattered and told her family she'd never date again. We met 5 years later at a wedding where I was the best man and she was a bridesmaid. We got married 2 years ago and have an 8-month-old daughter. Last Friday, we went to a barbecue at my buddy Mark's place. His brother just got engaged, so everyone was talking about proposal stories and relationship advice. I told the story about how I proposed to my wife on a hiking trail where we had our first date, and everyone was saying how romantic it was. Then I joked that I almost dropped the ring off a cliff and would have had to propose with a twist tie. People were cracking up. Then my wife starts talking about her first husband, which doesn't bother me. She mentions him sometimes, and I've always been supportive. Earlier in the night, she'd actually told everyone how grateful she was for second chances at happiness while looking right at me. But then she says, if he walked through that door right now, I'd run to him and never look back. Everything stopped. Someone's beer bottle clinked against the table, and it sounded like a gunshot. I felt like the ground disappeared under me. My stomach dropped, and I could feel everyone's eyes bouncing between me and her, like they were watching a tennis match. I tried to laugh it off and said something like, wow, brutal honesty tonight, but my voice cracked. Mark's fiancée actually gasped and put her hand over her mouth. His brother, who'd literally just gotten engaged an hour earlier, looked at his girlfriend like he was suddenly questioning everything. Mark immediately changed the subject to the Mets game, but nobody cared anymore. The whole energy was ruined. I sat there for another 40 minutes pretending I gave a damn about burgers and baseball while my mind was spinning. I kept thinking about our daughter asleep in her crib at home and how her mom just said she'd abandon us both for a memory. I also couldn't stop thinking about how just last week she'd asked me to take down the one photo I had of my ex-girlfriend from college because seeing it on my phone's cloud made her uncomfortable. The car ride home was silent. She tried to hold my hand at one red light and I moved it to shift gears even though we were stopped. She asked if I was okay and I just said, yeah, tired. She then tried to explain herself right there in the car, saying something about how everyone knows I didn't mean it literally, and I just turned the radio on. When we got home, I checked on our daughter and just stood there watching her sleep for like 20 minutes. She has my eyes, but my wife's smile. I didn't want to go to our bedroom. When I finally did, my wife asked what was wrong. I told her we'd talk tomorrow because I needed to think. She kept pushing, saying she could tell I was upset and wanted to fix it now. She even said, you're being dramatic. Everyone understood what I meant. That made it worse. I ended up grabbing a pillow and sleeping in the nursery on the floor next to the crib. I didn't sleep at all. I just kept hearing her say, never look back, over and over. In the morning, she tried to apologize, but it felt hollow. She said she was just caught up in the moment and didn't think before speaking. I asked her straight up, do you actually want to be married to me? Or am I just what you settled for because he's gone? She got defensive and said I was twisting her words and that I couldn't understand what it's like to lose your soulmate. Maybe she's right. Maybe I can't. But I also think it's insane to tell your husband you'd ditch him and your infant daughter for your dead ex in front of all his friends. I told her she made me feel like I'm just a placeholder until the universe figures out a way to bring him back. She insisted that's not what she meant. But when I asked her to explain what she did mean, she couldn't give me an answer. We've barely spoken since.